The death of the reputation system in Destiny 2 is an interesting point of topic. The reputation system has been around for a long time and it's now been replaced. I want to hear what they're talking about. What's the breakdown here?
In Destiny has changed a lot over the past decade. Originally in Destiny 1, you would rank up vendors and receive rewards for completing activities. This was changed in the launch of Destiny 2, which changed the reputation system into a token system, where you would earn tokens and redeem them at certain vendors for rewards. In the Witch Queen
Destiny 2, the Token King. Who remembers that one? All the tokens. We had a token for everything. Their whole inventory was filled with different tokens.
Bungie returned to a more Destiny 1 style reputation system by making it so you only had to complete certain activities which would rank up certain vendors. But now, in Edge of Fate, the reputation system is basically all gone, with some few exceptions. In this video, I'm going to be going over why I believe this change is a mistake and removes a lot of depth to the game. My name is Donkey, and welcome back to another YouTube video. I hope you guys have had a good day, and let's get into it. Logging into the
All right, I like the premise of this video already. Let's hear it.
game after the launch of Edge of Fate, you may notice a few things have changed. One being, our power level has decreased. There's this new system called the Portal, in which we play the majority of the game from. And there's this cool new destination called Kepler. Awesome. But you may notice there's a couple of things missing. And the one I'm going to be talking about today is the reputation system. With the launch of Edge of Fate, Bungie removed the reputation from the majority of the game, with some few exceptions. If I come over to Zavala here, you'll notice his reputation system is missing. Now all you have is a focus decoding, where you can spend glimmer and enhancement cores on some old weapons and armor, and you can also do a weekly focus on certain gear for the week. The reputation system is gone. And this is the same for the Crucible, the Cryptarch, the Gunsmith, Xur, Gambit, and Trials of Osiris. All of these reputation systems have been removed from the game, with a few exceptions, that being Hawthorne, and some destinations like Neomuna, the Throne World, and the Pale Heart. The removal of the reputation system is a bit frustrating for me as a player, because when I go over to Zavala, I don't really see anything. I see these random boxes, which I click on, and I then focus on rewards. If I come over to Lord Shaxx, you'll see something pretty similar, where I can focus some legacy gear, but there's nothing here. And this is the same for basically every vendor in the game. We're going to the vendor, there's nothing. There's no personality, there's no rewards, just random boxes you can click on for random things. My problem with the removal of this reputation system is it feels like it's removed a lot of the depth and complexity of the game and replaced it with something a lot more soulless and empty, and makes a lot of the characters and vendors in the game feel completely useless. Here's Hawthorne, one of the last remaining reputation systems in the game. We have engrams you can earn at the top, a reward track you can use to get some extra rewards, and some bounties. This gives character to each character. There's a reason I come to the tower and I click on these characters and I interact with them so I can claim certain rewards. It's a response to the time I invest in certain activities. I could spend a bunch of hours in the Crucible, a bunch of hours in the Vanguard playlist, a bunch of hours in Gambit, and by doing so I would earn reputation at these characters and I could go there and gain some extra rewards. And when I would prestige and reset these ranks, I would get extra perks on my weapons. And through this system, you are directly rewarded for your time investment. It's easier to get these god rolls of these weapons because you spend time in this system. You spend time in the systems of the game so that you can make your grind a little bit easier.
And so what they did was they removed these reputation systems to create the new portal system, which is basically a unification of all of these activities into one. So you instead can grind whatever you want to grind. Like technically you could play Crucible and equally level up as fast as you would play in solo ops or fire team ops, Pinnacle ops. That's the game plan in the long run. Right now it's not that, people just doing solo and Pinnacle, but it's a different system. I don't necessarily see it being worse. I do see how he's saying in regards to the characters, they do feel a little more soulless now that they don't offer like bounties and have just more character to them.
Vanguard and Crucible and Gambit reputation, you could earn a seasonal weapon. One of these guns that had unique perk combinations that you wouldn't really see on other guns. And it would be a good way for new players to earn some pretty decent loot. And you could also, upon resetting your rank, get a cool skin for it, right? And now the system is removed and has been replaced with nothing. It doesn't exist anymore. And that's a big problem because I have no reason to return to these characters. I have no
You don't have a reason to return to the characters. That system has been replaced with the portal stuff because, like you're saying, you would go to the vendor and you would level them up. And now you have to just level yourself up. You level your own power up by playing these activities. And then you get those higher tiered rewards, and they have multiple perk options, kind of like what you had before. So the end result, you can still kind of get those weapons that you're looking for. They're put in a more streamlined portal system instead.
reason to go to Zavala outside of, I guess, focusing a thing, right? At once a week. I have no reason to go to Shaxx for literally no reason. There's no reason to ever go to Shaxx. I have no reason to go to Saint 14 outside of, I guess, to grab my trials card, and that's it. I have no reason to go to these spaces in the game because there's nothing.
That's actually such a valid argument. I like that a lot. You don't have a reason, and you previously would regularly go there, listen to their voice lines, and you kind of interacted with the character, and it gave you a much more of a community feeling. That is a really good criticism.
There for me. There's literally nothing. It doesn't exist. I get a bit of a feeling, similar feeling I do now to when Beyond Light came out with the whole sunsetting and content vaulting ordeal, where it felt like more has been removed from the game than has been added, right? With Beyond Light, we lost a whole bunch of raids, a whole bunch of activities, and we lost like the majority of our arsenal. And in response, we got very little and basically nothing. And now we have this new expansion where we have this new system, I guess, of the portal, but there's no new activities, right? We've lost Grandmaster Nightfalls. Now we have these conquests that you can do once per season. Additionally, we have lost this reputation system, and there's nothing. There's just nothing. I can spend all day, every day in Caldera and K1. I can grind Caldera and K1 all day, every day, non-stop, back to back on repeat to power level. But outside of that, I'm not interacting with anything else in the game. I'm purely doing this. There's nothing outside of the game, outside of Caldera, outside of logistics, and outside of the portal. There's nothing. There's no.
That's true. That makes the game a little more streamlined, but it definitely takes away the soul of the game. I really agree with this guy's opinion on this one. Especially, this ties into the portal as a menu compared to the world tab as well, which I think the world tab is a lot more inviting for exploration and just looks better than this menu. This menu is seamless. This menu is frictionless that Bungie's looking for, but it's also soulless.
Reason for me to go to the tower. I'm going to be completely honest. There's no reason. The only reason you go to the tower is, I guess, to decrypt your exotic engrams, to grab your once a week Zavala focus, to grab your lighthouse token, buy something at Xur. There's no other reason in the game to go to the tower and interact with any of these vendors. It doesn't exist. They removed it from the game. And so there's this level of social features of going to this social space where I go and I interact with a bunch of other players. I can see their fashion, do some emotes, play around with the ball. I can do all these things in the tower. And sure, I could still go and do those things.
It has never felt more isolating, right? Especially now that you've got everyone in solo ops. You're de-incentivized to ever go to the tower. I mean, I've had a lot of fun in the tower with like emotes and interacting with people. I will give a criticism to my desire to go to the tower to speak to Zavala, Shaxx, their voice lines and the interactions with them are pretty boring and have been for a long time. They could be more interesting, but like I'm not really going to the tower to like really see Shaxx again necessarily. So that that one I'm a little on the fence about, but the removal of like the social aspect of the game inadvertently by degrading and devaluing the vendors is actually a pretty interesting argument. And it ties in with, like we talked about previously, where everyone is now in solo ops, or at least a large majority of people. And so the game is very isolating right now. It's hard to find fire team and get your friends to play together for this period of time. We got to make Destiny 2, we got to incentivize being a little more social and working with people because we're entering a weird stage of Destiny right now.
But the reason why these moments become fun and so special and
yeah, someone in the comments said the single player MMO
and influence the social ability of the game is because you're here for a reason. When I come to the tower before Edge of Fate, I'm not just here to chill and hang out and do some emotes in the middle of of the courtyard. I'm here to do other things. I'm here to talk to Zavala and reset my rank, focus some rewards at Zavala after doing some GMs. I'm here to decrypt my prime engrams and focus some exotics at Rahul. I'm here to reset my Crucible rank so I can get better perks on my guns. There's reasons I'm here in the tower outside of socializing. But then when I get to the tower and I'm here already doing other things, the social features come secondhand. I'm already here, might as well interact with other people in the tower. Might as well kick around the ball, do the floor is lava puzzle. We've lost like a level of social features in the game for the portal, right? We got the portal to make getting in the game easier, getting into activities easier. You click, go to your Netflix screen, click, boop, 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 up, load up into Caldera, do my runs for the day, and then that's it. You log off. There's no reason to go to the tower. There's no reason to go anywhere. We've lost
To be fair, I guess maybe you go to the tower, you got to level up your guardian rank. There's a couple of smaller reasons, but the tower trips are diminished with the new system, and the social features are de-incentivized.
reason in this game. And reputation to me is this personification of this system where you just go to these vendors and there's nothing. What's the point? There's zero reason to go here. It's frustrating, man. I just don't see the reason why Bungie decided, let's remove the reputation system from the game. There's zero reason that Fireteam, Solo, and Pinnacle Ops shouldn't give you Vanguard rep. In the
That would be nice. The two systems could easily work together in tandem.
Crucible, you actually do get reputation, but you don't interact with the vendor. You don't interact with Lord Shaxx. So you kept the reputation system of Crucible, but you removed the vendor. Like, there's no reason to come to the vendor anymore. Why? Why? I'm sure some people out there will say, why should I have to? It's a waste of time to come to the tower, interact with the character, go blink, 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 blonk, 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 click on my buttons. But it's just a level of complexity, a level of depth, a level of nuance to the game, a level of universal world building, where I have to interact with the guy who runs the Crucible in order to get my Crucible rewards. I gotta interact with these characters, get to know them. How is it?
It is actually an integral part. It may seem a little tedious or like a chore, but all of that developmental effort has already been put in. Like, Shaxx is already there. He is already a character in the lore, and he has story, and new players need to go to this vendor and understand these systems. And the reputation system was a good system and could have worked in tandem with the portal. But I think maybe the only reason why they didn't do it is because it would just require more developmental work, because now you'd have to have the portal, its systems, its loot, and then the reputation system, which would have to have separate weapons, separate loot, and maybe they just weren't prepared for that. Maybe they invested all their cards in the portal and all their effort to try and make it as successful as possible. But definitely the reputation is missed, and the necessity to go speak to these vendors is missed.
New player gonna know who Shaxx is when there's literally zero reason to ever interact with Shaxx ever in the game? How is a new player gonna know who Zavala is when there's zero reason, basically, to ever interact with Zavala more than once a reset? There's no reason. No one knows who these characters are, and no one cares because it's useless. They removed their point in the game. There's no reason Shaxx should even exist anymore in the game. Why does the Shaxx area, Crucible area of the tower even exist anymore? Because there's no reason for it to be there. There's no reason. I honestly hope Bungie reverses their decision and brings the reputation system back, because there's just no reason. And I'm going to end up repeating that over and over again, so might as well wrap it up here. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope I made sense in my rants. A little frustrating that the system has changed in this way, and in a way that removes more from the game than it seeks to add. It's a little frustrating, and I really hope Bungie reconsiders their decision to remove the reputation system from the game. But for now, that's it for me, guys. I'll see you in another YouTube video soon, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.
All right, so that was the death of the reputation system from Donkey. A good video, actually, a point that I didn't really think about too much. I've been so focused on the portal itself and its complexities and its flaws that's kind of overlooked the reputation system, but it's definitely missed. And I think it does exactly the job that he said, where it's an integral part of character building and understanding the world and the lore and the story and everything that's going on. And it may not be as in-depth because, you know, let's be real, the lines that Shaxx has are not like that revealing of who he is necessarily, but it kind of makes you feel like you're in this world when you have to go speak to him, even if he is just an NPC. You're like, you load in, you got to go to him, you got to talk to him, you got to interact with him. It's like this, there's like this exchange that's going on, you know? And even though they're not a real person, it makes you feel like the immersion is there and you understand who this character is and you're regularly interacting with them and visiting them, especially if you spend time in those ritual playlists. Like if you spend a lot of time in Strikes, Vanguard playlists, or if you spend time in Crucible, you're very familiar with those characters. Whereas now you would probably be less familiar, so which is not good, especially for new players. And definitely a missed opportunity from Bungie here. I want to see what the comments say on this one, though. Let's see what we got here. The top comment reads, "We make worlds that inspire friendship. Proceeds to remove all naturally occurring sources of socialization." We got, it's so weird. The vendors are just there, and you don't even need to talk to them. Poor Shax. They even left the old rank circles you level up after Crucible in the game, yet they are literally dormant and do nothing. Yeah, he actually mentioned that previously, where you still technically have the reputation, but it serves no purpose. I'm gonna miss saying, "Hold up, boys. I need the tower real quick." I actually like the tower. I liked going for like little emote parties once in a while. It could be a little bit tedious when you load in really slow. Like you're constantly like, I want to be in the game. I want to be in an activity. So part of this is probably a response to that feedback where people are like, I don't want to have to play an activity, go to the tower, play an activity, go to the tower. You know, that's a bit tedious. So they wanted to make it a little more frictionless so you could just stay in your activities as much as possible. So it's not that Bungie did 100% a wrong thing. I think they're just trying some new things. And it's good for them to try new things so that they can hear this feedback and be like, now we need to adjust this thing, perhaps, you know? So I don't hate that Bungie maybe tried to make it a little more frictionless, but I do feel like the end result is that there's some missed things happening here. You know, there's some things that need to be fixed. It started with the Pale Heart not being a social destination. Bungie is slowly removing the social aspect of the game, hoping people won't notice. That, or they're just inadvertently not thinking about it, not realizing how important the social aspect is. I do miss the reputation system. It feels like I have no characters to visit, and I also have less backup rewards to claim if I need some glimmer or shards or something else. I remember in Destiny 1 messaging random people in the tower to ask if they wanted to join for heroic strikes. I did this too. I was guilty of this. And we would exploring planets and coming across other people during public events. Public events were the best farm at D2 launch. And even after that was changed, there was almost always at least one person doing a public event in any zone. Now the last two planets have been private instances, and there's no reason to go to the tower. The social aspects which made Destiny such a unique game are dead. That's tough, man. If you enjoyed this video, then click on the screen here to watch another one from this channel. And don't forget that we're doing a monthly emblem giveaway for anyone that is subscribed with notifications on, likes, and comments on the video. We'll be scrolling through all the comments, picking random winners. So best of luck to you out there, and we appreciate you watching.